beautiful. Welcome to Dream Job with Danielle Cobo podcast. I am Danielle Cobo, elite career coach, and I believe every woman has the power to step into their dream job, earn the salary they are worth, and live the life they desire. Each week you join me, you're going to hear from inspiring women who have overcome adversity and leveled up their career. You're going to learn how to eliminate that inner critic that is holding you back from pursuing your dream, how to build confidence, create healthy boundaries to transition burnout to re-energize, and gain clarity on how to accelerate your career. It's never too late to pursue your dream job. The time is now. Are you ready? Hey everyone, welcome to Dream Job with Danielle Cobo podcast. Today we have a very exciting guest. We have Amy Breslin, and she is a money mindset coach. She is rated as one of the top 30 podcast coaches for entrepreneurs. She's absolutely amazing, and I'm excited to introduce you to her today.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. So I have a question for you.
Okay, go for it.
What is a money mindset coach?
What is a money mindset coach? So a money mindset coach is someone that helps people with their limiting beliefs around money. So this is something that comes up definitely for women, that worthiness around money. So it's really uncovering limiting beliefs around money, stories that we have around money to allow more so women to create the life that they want, to have more, to be more. That's for me how I envision what I do. That's how I see it. Yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about what you see with the clients that you work with. What are the primary limiting beliefs? So, and for those of you that are listening, a limiting belief is really a state of mind, and it's these negative thoughts. It's our inner critic that we have inside. And it's either something we've told ourselves or somebody else has projected their negativity or their insecurities onto us. So tell us a little bit about what you hear often from women when it comes to these limiting beliefs on money.
Yeah, there's so many things that we could go, there's so many things that we can unpack. And exactly like you just said. So it's a lot to do with the stories that you hear, that you've heard growing up, the words that you've heard that your parents maybe said growing up, incidents that you've had, events that have happened throughout your life around money, modeling, we model what we see, what we grow up seeing. So all of these things that happen, and then, into our adulthood as well. If you've been in debt, if you have struggled for money, or if you have had certain things happen with money, it creates this whole story and this whole paradigm that we have to do with money. So this is something that, is really popular now. A lot of people are talking about, which I love, because I feel like we need more women to have money. We need more women in the world that, because we can do incredible things. Us here today, there's so many amazing women doing amazing things. So these stories, these paradigms that we have around money, as women, some of the main ones that I come across, a lot of women feel greed. They're greedy if they want money, or they feel shame for wanting to have money because again, this growing up thing. Definitely, I feel like my age range, even still, growing up, my mum stayed at home. My mum, was looking after the children. My dad was the breadwinner. My dad would go out to work, and that was sort of expected. That was the story. And obviously this is changing so much now, and what we're seeing, and that's what I love about social media. But it's still, because it's been years and years generational, there's still so many underlying beliefs around for women to go out and create the income that they desire, that they want, the lifestyle that they want. So that is a massive one. Shame, guilt. Also, for a lot of us, and this could be men as well, if you've never earned a certain income, if you've never earned over a certain amount of money, it's practically you can see, yeah, of course I'd like to earn that money. But underlying, like those limiting underlying beliefs, maybe you don't feel like you're worthy. Maybe you don't feel like you can because you've never earned over that amount of money before. And that really was for me, like really showed up for me in my business when I was when I was sort of leveling up in my business. I could see it. I could had the vision, like I could see what I wanted, but there was just something that was getting in the way. There was just like, there was a block. Like I just felt like whatever I did, no matter how hard I worked, it wasn't happening.
Yeah.
And that was that underlying belief that I just didn't feel worthy of that paycheck or that income. So those are some of the, probably I'd say the really common ones.
You know, it's interesting you say that, because when it comes, especially in the coaching world, you know, is a lot of the coaches that I work with, they're always second guessing, you know, their programs that they built. And it's always this, you're worth more. I would pay more for that. You know, when it comes to, you know, I know coaches that will help women over 40 to lose 50 pounds. And that's an incredible power to have. And yet these coaches really have these limiting beliefs on what their worth is. And I also see this when women are, you know, working for corporations. And, you know, you talked about how society's changing and who used to predominantly bring home, be the breadwinner, is different. So 1/3 of women make more than their significant others.
Yeah.
And I have actually been in a relationship where when I started to really build my career, my significant other got really insecure about it. I mean, it was to the point where he almost wanted to hold me back. And I remember when I got out of that relationship, one of the things that was so important to me was I needed to be with a man that was confident that I may make more than you, and that's okay. You know, and my husband now, he really had to take it a step further and say he's not necessarily chasing the money. He actually joined the military, and in the military he doesn't make as much as me, but we get to support each other in different ways, and that's okay. And I'm not going to be insecure for making more than my husband. Like I just don't.
No, and that is so important. That's so important. And I've talked to so many people about this, about, you know, the dynamic between the husband and wife. And, you know, it's not the guy's fault necessarily. Like, again, it's that generational conditioning. Their conditioning is, you're the man, you're the provider, you have to, you know, you have to do this and you have to be that person. So actually, I think it's amazing that women are creating those incomes, because men are allowed to explore more, they're allowed to do more. But also, why I think it's so amazing is because you're like, if you're both doing what you love, if you're both in a space of like fulfilling your passions, you're happy, you're going to be happier all around. Like your relationship's going to be better. You know, I just feel like that's so important to have a dynamic in a relationship. And, you know, for some women, being the mum, being at home is absolutely what they want to do. And that's amazing. But if there's women, like, especially if there's women listening and they really want to have, you know, that lifestyle, they want that thing for themselves, they want to create that income or fulfill a passion or start something new, and they're worried about their partner, then, you know, like you just said, you've almost got to have a conversation. Like, why don't they want you to be happy? Like, surely they want you to be, you know, absolutely fulfilled in everything that you're doing. Because the dynamic changes. It's a different dynamic. And I only know that from my own experience, because before I started my business, you know, my partner works away. He's not in the military, but he works on cruise ships. So he's away a lot of the time. So I felt like I was just waiting around him all the time. Like I was going to work, I was in a job I hated. And I was like wishing time away, because I basically lived to exist for him, to wait for him, but he was doing what he loved. And it just was a very resentful relationship at that time. Like it was, I was not happy. And until I started doing what I loved, our relationship completely changed. And it's just, you know, that feeling of like, you're both fulfilling your passion, and then you can come together and share it. You can share, it's just incredible.
So what are some other limiting beliefs that you hear from clients? You know, you talked about you know, women earning more than their significant other, they're not feeling worthy of having wealth, which is interesting because, what I found is when you start to when you start to earn a wealth, when you start to grow, when you start to make more money, I see it as I have more opportunity to give back because I have the funds to do it and the time to do it. Like I get to, if somebody reaches out to me and says, we're creating this nonprofit and here's what it does. And if it's something I'm passionate about, I get to go, yeah, here's a check, here you go. Versus
Absolutely.
before I was making the income that I am now, I wasn't able to do that. And that's that shift of mind too.
Yeah. And that's a limiting belief that comes up a lot as well, is that if you've got money, you're taking it from someone else, that you're bad if you have money. And so again, these are the things that we hear growing up. So, how often did you hear, like, money's the root of all evil, and like my parents used to say, like, what do you think, I'm made of money, all of these things that you hear, but also what you witness. So I witnessed quite a lot of arguments around money growing up in my household. So my personal belief, and I'll also see this with clients, is you can't have both. You can't have wealth and you can't have a loving, thriving relationship. Like, it's one or the other. That is such a common thing. It's crazy that you feel like you can't have all of it. You can't have both, because men do, right? Men think that they can have everything that they want. Like they don't have any doubt about it. But as women, we feel like we can't have the love and the success and the wealth. Also, another one that really resonated with me is this thing about women that have money or women that are successful are not very nice people. So how many programs do we watch? How many movies are there where the woman that has success, that is, doing really well, she's not very nice. She's a bitch.
So true.
Yeah.
I never thought about that, but yeah, I think of thinking back of like those movies, the successful women are always viewed as a bitch.
And it's normally until they've been in a situation in a movie where it's been taken away from them and they're humbled. That's when they become nice people. It's when the money's taken away, or something happens, and that's again like conditioning. That if you're, particularly for women, I don't know what this thing is. Like I always think of The Devil Wears Prada. Like in that, she, Meryl Streep, she is a powerful, incredible, woman who's done amazing things, but she's horrible. She's absolutely horrible. She's a diva, and how many times media try to portray women like that are successful as a diva, like, Mariah Carey, J-Lo, they're divas. No, they're just powerful, successful, amazing women. And why shouldn't they be? So, and I think that shows up for a lot of women, is they think that, if they talk about money, if they want, and that for me was a big thing. Like if I talk to my friends about wanting to create an amazing income, like what are they going to think of me? Are they going to think I'm greedy? Are they going to think I'm, not very nice? And almost not wanting to talk about it in front of them, because I was trying to like shrink myself down.
Yep. I can relate to that so much. There's been so many times where, it's, Danielle, when we moved to Florida and we purchased this beautiful home, it was, I was told, like, Danielle, don't tell people we had an interior designer. Like, why? Who cares? Like, why can I tell people? Or, don't wear those shoes over here because, in Alabama, where I was living on a temporary time, like, don't wear those shoes because people are not going to understand spending that much money on shoes. And I'm like, but I bought them when I earned Manager of the Year. I'm proud of them. And I'm not going to hide who I am. And, we have this, for some reason, like, we're so scared to talk about that's another thing with women. Women are really fearful of talking about their accomplishments.
It's like showing off thing, isn't it? Like, don't show off. like, you know, stay humble, don't tell any, like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's a very British thing as well. Like, you know, we're taught not to show off, and you know, keep quiet and just be
Yeah.
humble, and that's a very British thing as well. I think, I feel like in America you are a bit more embracing, like, you
Mm-hmm.
know, like go for it, incredible, like a bit more empowering. But definitely in the UK it's very like, now let's not show off.
Yeah.
Calm down, pat yourself down, you know, it's that kind of mentality, really. I feel like that's changing a lot as well. Again, with social media, what I love is that it's just changed so much, because we can see the world's a lot smaller, isn't it? Like, we're able to see so many
Mm-hmm.
people from different countries and see what they're doing, and it's just making it more universal. I think it's not so separate anymore. It's making
Mm-hmm.
everyone become like a universal in terms of how we speak, in terms of sharing what we do, which I think is incredible.
Absolutely. In fact, that's how you and I connected, was through social media. So when I was thinking about, like, I want to create this amazing podcast and I want to have these powerful women who have created successful careers and overcome diversity, and really talk about some of the challenges that we as women have in the workforce. And it's interesting, like, I connected through you through social media, and that's how you and I connected. And it really does help us connect in ways that we never did before, even though we're on completely separate countries.
I know, I absolutely love that. Like, I think that's one of the best things about being in this world. um it amazes me every day, and I think that's why I love what we talk about here, is because I love every day going on social media and I'm like, there's so many amazing people that just share so many incredible things, like changing the world in terms of the
Mm-hmm.
conversation, empowerment, you know, not tearing people down, like
Mm-hmm.
building people up. And you know, the fact that we can collaborate like this, like on a
Uh-huh.
podcast, and share what we've learned and share our experiences, just is so powerful.
Absolutely. It definitely is. So here's something that I find interesting too. As women, when women are offered a position into a job, here's an interesting 70% of hiring managers expect that person's going to negotiate the salary. However, very few women actually negotiate the salary. So they receive the offer letter and they just say, okay, yes. And I will say, I've been one of those women. I've learned throughout my career to know my value and my worth. But this is something that women are doing every day.
Mm.
They're not negotiating. So talk to me a little bit about that.
That's so interesting that you said that, because actually I had a conversation with one of my friends yesterday. She's in business with me. I'm in network marketing, and we're in the business together. But she's just been offered an incredible job with an amazing company, and she was headhunted. And through her doing personal growth and development, through her, you know, working as a part of a business that is empowering, that's all about personal growth, leadership development, she's really like understood what her worth is and what her value is. And she said, like, she just went in with what she wanted, and she did not have any doubt, and she said almost like, because I didn't doubt what I had to offer them. I knew what I had to offer them. Whereas maybe even a year ago, like, I would have just accepted whatever they said. And I just went in, like, I told them what perks I want, you know, what benefit package I want, like the salary that I want. And she was like, they actually agreed to it. And she was surprised that they agreed to it. And
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you surprised? You're worthy of that. You deserve that. So I think I know there's so much to be said for growing yourself and growing your self-worth, because when, like, deep down we know, like, I feel like as women, we're like the ultimate multitaskers. We can do so many amazing things all at the same time.
Yep.
And we really know deep down what we can offer a company. We know deep down what we can bring to the table. But again, it's like that, those limiting beliefs kick in. Those, oh, but maybe they won't give me the job then if I do that. Or maybe, you know, maybe they'll think I'm pushy. Maybe they'll think I'm greedy. worrying about what they think of you rather than, you know, so you're willing to settle for a salary that's less than you deserve and less than you're worth because you're worried about what they'll think of you. And
you'll never know unless you ask.
Correct.
You'll never know.
You'll never know. And, you know, it's the most frustrating thing, I believe, like when I've worked, you know, whenever I was in corporate jobs, when you're sat next to someone and you're earning the same salary, but you're working twice or 3 times as hard as that person. And you're just sat there and it's like that resentment kicks in and you're like, I know I should be paid 3 times what this person's paid because I am putting the work in. But again, you need to ask for what you want. Companies, corporations, managers, they're going to try and give you the less amount if they can. They're a business. You know, you have to have that confidence and that worthiness to negotiate what you are worth. And if they don't agree, they'll either say, no, thank you, we've hired someone else, in which case I believe it wasn't meant to be. That wasn't meant to be for you. Or they'll say, you know, maybe we could negotiate a slightly better package, but not quite that. They'll negotiate as a business. So that's the worst case. Like, no is the worst thing that they could say. No, and more like we're so scared to hear no.
And they'll come back. So it's first, you're doing yourself a disservice if you're not negotiating at some point. And here's the thing, you're reasserting yourself as, I know my value and I know the value that I'm going to bring to the organization. And there's ways that you can say, yes, I'm so excited for this opportunity. And I'd like to, you know, relook at this offer letter. And what a lot of people don't know is there's multiple ways that you can negotiate what it is. I mean, you can negotiate a higher salary. You can negotiate a higher commission structure. You can negotiate a bonus, a signing bonus. So I know my experience working for a Fortune 500 company, I had a salary range that I could offer based off experience. And if for some reason the salary range that they were asking for was on the higher end, what I could negotiate was a signing bonus. And so those are the little things, and knowing that there's always areas that you can negotiate something.
Absolutely. Always. And you know, if you're in that situation and it's available and there's the potential, go for it. Like, go for it. And that does come down to, yes, there's going to be fear. Yes, there's going to be like the chance of rejection. And, you know, I think that's what we're so scared of as humans. We're so scared of rejection. We're so scared of hearing that word no. But ultimately it's your worthiness. And the best feeling is when you go in with it and the number or whatever packages that you want, and they're like, yeah. And imagine if you didn't ask. Imagine if you didn't go in with it, and then, you know, you got that job, and then you could be earning so much more money. Like, that's, you know, that's the best thing about it. So, and I really do believe that something that I talk a lot about is really working on yourself, like, you know, personal growth, like reading books, you know, just getting to know yourself and knowing, what I love to do is write down like all my attributes. Like, what do I think I am really good at?
Oh, that's great advice.
Well, you know, once you start to write down, it opens up your mind. You're like, I'm really good. Like, I know I can go and negotiate the salary that I want. I know I'm worth that.
Yeah. And two, for those of you that are listening, your salary specifically can really make a difference on your long-term income. And the reason being is a lot of companies will offer a merit increase each year to help keep up with inflation and living costs and things like that. So if you're making one salary and they offer you a 3% merit increase, you know, 3% off of 200,000 is very different than 3% off of 230,000. And so it's really important that you guys are looking at the salary specifically. And if for any reason you can't negotiate the salary, that's when you go towards like the signing bonus or more vacation time and things along those lines.
Absolutely. And I just think you're going to work harder for the income you want, surely. You know, so it works. It's all like that, the cycle of that. Like, you're going to work harder. You're going to put more love and joy into it if you're earning the money. And let's face it, like I always say to people, we say money's not important. Absolutely, it is important. Like, it's important because not just because of the money, but because how it makes you feel, like how, you know, what you're able to do with it. Like, that's why I talk about money mindset so much, because, you know, I hear this so often, people saying money is not important, but we need money to do everything. And there's nothing worse for me than that fear of not having money, that feeling of struggling. I've been there so many times of just like getting by. So if you can be in a position where you can negotiate what you are worth, go for it, do it.
You know, it's so right when it comes to, you know, you had talked about things we hear in our childhood, right? And so I have I would say money is very close to me. And the reason being is I grew up hearing, you know, I grew up where I was, you know, I shopped at thrift stores. My clothes each year was on layaway. You know, I lived in a 1-bedroom apartment and my actually bed was in the living room. And I always grew up hearing, we don't have money. We don't have money. We don't have money. We don't have money. And because of that, as I started to be successful in my career, as I started to make money, money became security to me. So, you know, in the beginning, everything that I made extra beyond my living expenses always went into savings. And, you know, when I turned 35, I paid off my house because it's that security. I never wanted to be in a situation where I didn't have a place to rest my head for me and my family. And so you said, like, the things you hear as a child affect who you are today and your relationship with money.
Yeah. And I think what you've explained is you see two scenarios. You see someone that, you know, uses that as like, they take on that identity that I don't have money, I'm never going to have money. Or you have the other scenario where you use that as like, I'm not going to be in that situation. I'm going to use this as fuel. And, you know, you've almost worked probably twice, triple as hard, like to be in that situation, which is amazing, to not be in that mindset or not be in that situation where you're like struggling for money, which is incredible.
So what are 3 things that you would really want our listeners to hear, you know, when it comes to money mindset and our relationship with money? What are 3 things you want our listeners to really take away from this?
So the first thing I would say, and this quote is one of my favorite quotes, is don't believe in the story more than you believe in the power to change the story. So what I mean by that is we believe the story that we tell ourselves more than we believe in the power to change it. So what I think is amazing is we can change our beliefs, we can change our identities, we can change our limiting beliefs, our stories, to stories that serve us. So stop believing a story that isn't serving you and change that story. Change it to serve you for the good. Change it to serve you for the better. You know, so that for me is like the first thing, like change that story. If it's not serving you right now, change it and, you know, go out and create the life you want. The second thing is, if you are doubting yourself, if you have that thing inside of you that you want more, you want to have more, you want to be the breadwinner in the family, you want to be able to do the nice things for yourself and not rely on anybody else, then go and do it. Like it is that simple. I know we can overcomplicate, we can look into lots of different things, we can, you know, overanalyze. Don't try and figure out all of the steps. Don't try and figure out the whole thing. Just take a step. That's what you did in business. That's what every single person that has started something or that has, like we're talking about negotiating a new salary, they've taken that step. They've taken that first step, and then the next step will come, and then the next step. So don't try and figure out the whole thing. And I'd say the third takeaway is I am really passionate about women owning them, like who they are, owning their worthiness. And I want women to change that story around money. I want to empower women to really just change the world, because we can change the world. Like women, like men are amazing. I absolutely think they're incredible in what they do, obviously.
Yes.
But what, as women, we don't, like, we have that emotion, that empathy. So as business owners, as corporate, like, executives and in corporations, and, vice presidents, like, we don't just go in as that like masculine energy. We can have empathy, we can have, connection, and that is powerful. That is what we need. We need more women leadership in the world. And I think that's so evident with, like us having this conversation, and the women that are putting podcasts out there. Like, that is what we need more of. So if you are a woman and you are listening to this and you have that feeling inside of you that, you can show up, you can, be a leader in a company or, a corporation, and you want to connect to people, you want to help people, that's what you're to do. That's your calling. Then you've got to go and do that. You are that person. Don't wait for someone else to do it. You are that person to go and do that. So that would be my 3 takeaways.
Oh, that's great advice. Absolutely great advice. So, Amy, where can my audience find you? Because you are on social media and I love following you. You have such valuable advice that you share, and you're fun and engaging too as well. So where can my audience find you?
Amazing. Yeah. So I am on Instagram at Mind Over Money Podcast. So that is where you can find me. And yeah, I like to keep it fun, keep it light on social media, and but obviously share incredible value as well. So yeah, come and follow me over there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for listening to the Dream Job with Danielle Cobo podcast. This is really a podcast designed for women who want to step up in their career. They want to level up in their career. They want to earn the salary they are worth and live the life that they desire. And each week, I'm going to continue to interview incredible women who have overcome adversity, who've leveled up their career. And we're going to be talking about not only like thriving in your career, but thriving in life as well. So I encourage you to continue to listen on. You can find me on Instagram at the Danielle Cobo, also on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and then my website, www.daniellecobo.com. Thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Bye.
Bye.